gentlemen, he's back. Put your hands together for my man Pots and Pans, Matt. And we're talking about CBD Sundays, y'all. Yo, Matt, man, you global now. Look, you got your name down at the bottom of the screen, man. A lot of things have changed. We've been checking out that whole Frontier podcast, man. Everything's looking good. Shout out to your beautiful wife and your family, Carly. She's in the building, man. Let's talk about some of your products, man. What you got in front of us now?
So, the way I kind of cut my teeth in this business was with CBD hemp products. That business has evolved over time, and the big mover these days is Delta 8. So here today we brought some Delta 8 disposables, some Delta 8 cartridges, which most people are, that's probably the most popular way people are using Delta 8 is in the vape category. Then we have our gummies, and we have our cookies here, which are the strongest kind of way you're going to get Delta 8 for the best dollar value right now.
Nard, Gary, Solo, put your hands together for Delta 8, y'all.
Now, the other thing that I also brought, which is our newest products here, and probably the newest cannabinoid out, is HHC. So that's a hexahydrogenated product.
HHC, Nard, we're going to have a hard time coming up with all these different.
Yeah, it keeps changing, man. You got to stay on top of it, right?
Matt, can you do us a favor, man? Can you get your Van and White on? Go into the front, right? And let's just go down the line. Tell us about the product, how the product works, how do you charge it, how do you use it, how often do you use it, and kind of run down that way. Do you mind doing that?
You want me to stand?
Yeah, stand up and go around it. Yeah, is that all right? You cool with that? I don't want no problems. I don't want no problems. Your mic on? Oh, okay.
So what we have here is our Delta 8 disposables. All right.
You can take it all the way up to the camera after you're done talking about it. After you're done talking about it, yeah. So people know when they go to the store exactly, what they buying. There you go. You see yourself in the picture? Yeah, we got big monitors here. Hey, Mama, we made it, baby.
I made sure everything I brought here today is available at Goose's. So everything you see here today, you can come right down here to Goose's Lounge. And,
oh, wait, Matt. Tell them who you knew. What are we called now? Are we what are we called now? We're
distributors. So you guys would be, you'd be our new distributor.
Tell the camera.
Our new distributor.
Oh, hey. Go ahead.
So we like to, and with that, we like to have good packaging for everything that we have here. We have our vape cartridges, which screw right onto any 510 thread battery. We do these in probably 15 different 20 strains. Today I brought the Gorilla Glue, the Granddaddy Fur, the Durban Poison, the Pineapple Express, and the Gushers, which are some of the most popular. We also have gummies, which are a big mover. People like to eat.
Yeah, take it right to the counter, brother. Yeah, take it.
These are the
look at you.
Peach kind.
Peach.
All right.
That's your favorite kind, Gary.
Right on. We're coming out with an even stronger version of those. So we're happy about that. And then probably the coolest product that we have are our Delta 8 cookies. These guys right here are the strongest cookie you're going to find, 62.5 milligrams of Delta 8 per cookie. There's 8 cookies in the bag, and the price point on those is fantastic. We also now have, like I said, the HHC, which comes in gummies.
Those are Nard's favorite.
Yeah, Goose just brought these in last week, so be the first one to try those out here.
They're vitamins. You take them every day.
Yeah, just one though. Flow. All right, and then we've got HHC disposable pens, which the disposables tend to be the one of the more popular ones. You don't need to have a battery. I'm coming back around.
Okay, yeah. Have a seat, man.
There's no battery needed on the disposables, and all of our disposables are actually rechargeable too. So if you're a slow vapor and you don't use it all in the first month or two, you can charge those bad boys back up. So what do you think about that right now? You've been over there getting familiar with it for a few minutes.
I think Max did a great job. I did not know it was rechargeable. So that's new for me.
Yeah, that's a new kind of, we like to have good hardware so it works well, it lasts, it doesn't leak. All that sort of stuff is kind of key, especially when you get into the disposable game.
So that's chargeable. Is it this plug-in USB chargeable?
Yeah,
or?
standard. The standard plug that everyone has.
Oh, okay.
It's not the iPhone one, but
Yeah, it's good. I noticed that. I noticed
one,
that. It's more Android. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Okay. Shout out to the Android users in the world. No longer iRobots, baby.
I knew he was gonna go there, man. See, all of the rest of us. And see, this is the big thing. A lot of times, man, because we have a group chat, like a group text message, so we send different information. Gary, are you picking up what I'm putting down?
I'm picking up everything.
So,
I'm also answering people's
questions. What happened? Oh, people. Okay, I appreciate you, Gary. You know what, man? You the best thing that ever happened to this podcast. So anyway, we sit there and we text back and forth like different suggestions or whatever. He's the only mofo that has an Android, so he messes up. Like you can't send two things, right? You can't send two things at one time. You got to send stuff individually.
Well, excuse me. Like, aren't we supposed to be going green?
You Android too?
You're supposed to be going green.
So their phones are like, back in the day when you were in high school.
Yeah.
Before like computers were real computers, they were teaching you COBOL.
Yeah.
Remember way back then? That's their phones. Yeah.
They still got
pagers. We will be making adjustments to this podcast, y'all. So make sure.
Unless the podcast is purchasing new iPhones for Shenard and myself.
We will be making adjustments. Android. So shout out to TPE, man, and shout out to Ryan, and shout out to what you got over there. Is that it?
Android.
Oh, no.
Android. Mike in the back. What you got?
Android.
Whoa, that's your man in the back. What you got?
No.
Android.
You guys are crazy, man. So ever since TPE, man, we got some great product that's out here, man, and we still got a lot of other stuff that's coming out. Gary, out of all this stuff, man, what are you the most excited about and interested about? Because you really keep your ear to the streets when it comes to different stuff and product that's coming out.
That's because he's laying down.
Hey, you raise your hand before you talk to this podcast, sir.
My fault.
All you do is take pictures.
Wow.
All right. Gary, again, before we was really interrupt.
So for me, the gummies and the cookies are the things probably that I would push to more because one.
And why is that so important? Gummies and cookies.
Well, for a couple of reasons. One, I don't like the smell. So
okay.
I could be hypothetically, I could be out in public space.
Right.
And I could take a gummy and nobody knows what's going on in my world.
Right.
But if I'm smoking something, everybody can smell it.
Right.
And I like to go under the radar. So I choose not to smoke. Yeah. So I prefer the gummies.
Do you care about the smell?
Do I care about the smell? No, I don't care. I actually like the smell. But heck, man, my shirt is made out of hemp that I'm wearing here today.
Really?
Yeah, man. I mean, hemp is a fantastic plant. I mean, it grows fast. It's got so many uses. Yeah. I mean, he's talking about going green, right? It's not just the androids, but it certainly is something that, I don't mind the smell of it, but I totally understand where you're coming from with that. And then beyond that, it has a little bit of a different effect, especially if you can control it properly, for yourself, because it's different for everybody in the way it interacts. But I think it certainly can have maybe a milder effect if you're smart about it, and it kind of puts you, like you said, in your own little space. Right. And there's a lot of value to that for people that don't like smoking or it's too much.
Right. Let me ask you a question before Nard attacks you. Where do you see the whole CBD and the hemp? Like, where's this going? Is this a brand new trend when it comes to relaxation and a lot of other things? You think? I mean, are they going to stop coming out with products? Or you think this is going to? Because TPE has a plethora of different, just crazy amount of stuff.
Well, the big thing at TPE, and so the thing is right now is there's a lot of brands, right? It's still the same product for the most part. I mean, it's Delta 8 or Delta 10 or THC 0 is one and HHC is another one. They're going to keep coming out with different cannabinoids that as they learn more. Where I really, I guess where we as a company believe it's kind of headed is it's almost like a dry run for the actual, marijuana industry. The dispensaries it doesn't really seem to be working that well, right? But you come into a cigar lounge, a place like this, or a smoke shop, they're already taking ID, right? They're already set up for that. And now these guys are the places that you can go and buy Delta 8.
Right.
And I mean, you look at all our products, we have QR codes on them, so they go back to a lab report. You know, that sort of thing is going to be important. But it does seem to me that from a federal level, from a legal standpoint, I mean, when you ask if this is a new fad, let's be honest, right? Plant medicine's been around for as long as the world, right?
Exactly.
So this stuff isn't necessarily new in that regard as far as a community for it. But I think from a law standpoint, we're seeing a lot of progress there. It's been slow the last couple of years with CBD and where they're at, but the Farm Bill has been passed. It protects all this stuff from a federal standpoint,
Right.
And we're just kind of working towards, I think, how do they one day flip the switch and make cannabis in general legal? Because it's all cannabis, right? I mean, we call it hemp. It's just a different strain of cannabis from what is technically federally illegal right now. So we just kind of see them working towards how do we do this better than the current scenario? You know, having these guys who jump all through these hoops to sell medical or recreational, depending on what state you're in.
Right.
It just doesn't seem to be working that well. Where you know, smoke shops, cigar places, everybody like that is already set up to do this kind of carding and that.
Quick question, Matt. Just shout out to our producer. Y'all put your hands together for Justin. He does a great job here for the Undefeated Goats. Justin, please do me a favor. Put on the bottom there, Frontier Cigars, all one word. I need everybody to go on the IG page for Frontier Cigars and like and share. And shout out to your wife, Carly. She's here. She does all the work for the whole. She does all the work for it. Just I greatly appreciate it. And go ahead, Nard. You can ask him the next question about
Matt. How long have you been involved with this?
Good question.
When did you find out this was a lane that you want to be in?
From a business standpoint, my dad's my business partner. My mom's part of our business. My wife's part of our business. You could argue.
Is that hard working with? Because is that hard working with family members?
Yeah, it's hard, but like
I mean, because Carly's a boss, but who like does she tell you? Does she kick your ass like every day, or do you?
I mean, we kick each other's. Everybody kicks you,
okay,
because we all eat, right? So like, I mean, who can you trust more than your family?
Well,
right? When it comes time to actually,
I thought that until I met these brothers.
Yeah, I know he didn't invite.
Man,
tacos,
if you ever catch a fish, you want to throw the damn thing back. 3 times in my life, I've done this.
Yeah.
That's one.
That's one strike.
You get 2.
Well, I can get as many strikes as I want. So is that tough? Shout out to mom and dad, and of course, shout out to your beautiful wife.
I mean, everything's tough, right? I mean, you're gonna do what you're gonna do, and I mean, but it's also awesome. So I mean, working with them. I mean, we've talked about this before. When I was a kid, I played hockey. My dad drove me everywhere before I moved away. So now there's like he and I are gonna go on a trip this week, and you know, I'm going to drive this time, but I get to spend time with my dad that most people, you know, don't get to do, especially when you get older as man. You know, it's not necessarily, you know, guys go to work, guys have jobs. Well, my job, a lot of days I get to go. Some days, yeah, he's up my rear end about it, but that's okay. Sometimes I need that. You know?
Who's the most boisterous about the whole company when it comes to this? Because you have some great products. I mean, we were blown away. I mean, this is the second time with you coming on the Undefeated Goats podcast. The Undefeated Goat is in the audience. We're going to bring him to the mic in a second. That's our brother Goose. He has so much influence when it comes to everything that goes on inside of his lounge. Question to you is, like, how did you come up with all? Like, okay, I can understand coming up with gummies and cookies or whatever. But how did you go get it in order to sell it? Like, so that's the part that we
that's a great point.
Is it all under one umbrella?
Yeah. So our company is Atlantic VVO.
And how did you get involved with it? I'm sorry for cutting you off, but I got to get it out. I forget. How did you get involved with Atlantic PPO? VVO.
Right.
VVO
so originally my dad's business partner, well, full disclosure story here, guys.
So dad's a triple OG.
This goes way back, right? This goes way back to when I was
a
Pee-wee hockey player. All right, and there was a gentleman named Emerson Sanders, and he's a black guy from the DC area, and he called my dad and said, "Hey, can I bring my son up to play hockey for you guys?" My dad's like, "Sure." I guess he was experiencing some racism down there. He would drive 2.5 hours up to practice to play with us through Pee-wee hockey. So he and my dad have been close friends ever since. they started this business. He was tied to the Veterans Association. He was a little bit more forward thinking, I think, as far as cannabis and that sort of stuff goes.
Can you do me a favor? Look that way, because he ain't involved with nothing. So look to these guys.
Look to these guys.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. I'm just a
together.
photographer.
Look this way. Don't
Let me
look over
sit back
there.
and smoke.
He ain't gonna.
Let me
He
sit
ain't
back
gonna
and
give you no
smoke.
good brownie points. At
No,
all.
you
Look
take
this
me
way.
off camera too.
Look at it.
Wow. Okay.
Thank you, Justin.
All
Look
right,
over here
Justin.
when you talk, because these are the guys that got control.
We're playing that today. Okay.
Yeah, his goal was to bring cannabis to the Veterans Association, right? So our full name actually is Atlantic Veterans Vitality Outreach. At the time, I was just a salesperson.
Wait, who came up with the name?
They did when they were partners.
Who's
right?
they?
Emerson and
come on, help me
Dad.
out. We got to
Right.
get to the bottom of this.
So-
He's getting there.
All right.
Yeah, I'm getting there. So now we just go by Atlantic VVO because, I mean, at the time we weren't prepared to do anything that was necessarily, it's a great idea. I think the veterans do deserve that sort of service in that, but it's still federally illegal. So that, that was part of the problem there. So we pivoted a little bit and, they separated, still great friends, but separated as business partners.
Okay.
I sat there and said, yeah, I'm selling this stuff. I want to do this stuff. I understand CBD because as a hockey
At what
player, I
age?
used it.
What year was this?
It's about 6 years ago now.
Okay.
But I mean, I've been involved with cannabis and that sort of stuff ever since I played, minor professional hockey because they gave us all the pills and all the stuff that you could want. I saw a lot of guys go down some bad roads with that sort of stuff.
Right.
And the culture that is what's acceptable is kind of crazy when you actually take a step back and look at this, right? I'm talking about plant medicine. We're talking about manufactured, addictive, things they know are addictive and they're handing them out. I mean, we called them Skittles, right? So, I mean, I'm very honest about that now. I've had some friends that were professional athletes that have passed away because of this sort of stuff. It comes for everybody. It doesn't care.
No, it doesn't care. No.
Right? It doesn't. You can be rich, poor, wherever. And to sit there and say that plant medicine is bad or you shouldn't, So I'm pretty vocal about that now because I've seen what it can do for my life, and I've seen what it has done for a lot of other people. So it became an easy sell from the CBD standpoint. My dad was in a bad car accident. I had 2 hip surgeries with hockey. So I take CBD still every day from a medicinal standpoint for its anti-inflammatory, for its pain, all that great stuff, right? But again, I don't sit back and neglect that the plant has a lot more to offer than just CBD. Right. And I've always been a proponent of the plant in its natural form, right? They talk about the entourage effect. It's like, you wouldn't go to a symphony and just listen to violins, right? You want to use the whole thing together. So we hear people talk about isolates, things like that. The whole plant's always the best way to go, and these products here, they offer people an alternative where, they don't have to do, shady, the shady backdoor thing. They can go to a reputable shop and pick this stuff up. Again, I always recommend people look for QR codes. You just open up your smartphone camera, scan that thing. If it takes you to something that's not a lab report that tells you what's in this product, probably try a different product.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because there's some that are good, a lot are good these days, and there's always going to be guys out there that are trying to make a quick buck.
Yeah.
So quick question with the 4 of us, with me, Nard, Gary, and then with Justin. Do we have to go through Atlantic as far as like being distributors or whatever the case may be, or do we? I mean, because we're happy to be a part of the
so
whole
that's
family.
that's what our company does. We set it
Cam's
up.
not involved, so
That's good. Look over this way.
Okay.
We'll talk later,
That's
man.
that's really what we are set up to do. We don't sell to individuals. I mean, sure, family and friends that don't know where to get it or that sort of stuff. Now it's pretty readily available everywhere. But we sell to guys like Goose's Lounge, but realistically our company was set up and still is to sell to other distributors and things like that are out there that have that business, have that relationship.
None of this stuff stays on the shelf.
No, this stuff is it's moving like hotcakes right now. To be honest, the cartridges and the cookies are probably the top
sales.
2. The disposables,
Security,
and the gummies are right behind it.
He's cutting up, man. Did he take one of the gummies? I think
may have. I don't
he
know.
took something.
Hey.
Yo, Goose,
I'm about,
get security, get this guy out, man. I don't know what's wrong with him, man.
I'm about
Why
to-
you back there?
I'm about to flip these cameras in a second.
Oh,
You know,
man.
flip something. He put his name up there.
Hey, I'm gonna act out.
Yo, that guy right there, Nars getting 86. Quick.
All right.
86.
Hey,
Now,
man.
Matt, let me ask one question
Go ahead.
before you go. Are we done with hockey, man? Because listen, the Flyers ain't doing that good, bro. I know you got a couple skates left in you. You know what I mean? Or at least a player coach or something. Me and Goose would love to come to the games. I'll bring Emily. Your wife would be your biggest supporter. Mike's going to sit in the back like he always does during the podcast, so he'll be up in the nosebleed sections. You know what I mean? But he'll at least come to the game. Do you think there's one more push along with this? Can we get with the Flyers or something? It don't even have to be the Flyers. We can go down to Florida and be a part of the Lightning, or we can go back to Vegas and be a part of that program. But come on, man. You could probably be a coach or something.
So it's funny. I was actually a
You
assistant
was?
coach for a little while. It's not for me though. I want to do this. Man.
Yeah, I hear you.
All right, that wasn't the wrong debate.
Yeah.
What you mean? So how long were you
So when I played,
we're
for
talking about professional though.
yeah.
Is anyway?
Well, I played for the Reading Royals, which is I guess minor professional. I mean, they paid my bills, so
Right.
it's, it's
Now-
considered pro. And when I was captain up there, and then I had my hip issues, and before I had surgery, I was
How'd you
the
hurt your hip?
assistant coach. Because I did the stuff they tell you not to do, you know what I mean? Like the
So let me
varsity
tell you-
blues. I got 25 injections in like.
Let me tell you what happened. Goose, this is what happened. And that's how I know Carly, he still got it in him. Because he was over here talking, and Carly, this is what I did, Goose. I touched him and he moved over. So he don't like nobody touching him at all. So I know. Listen, I know, right? Don't touch whatever you do, don't touch him because he still got it in his blood. You know what I mean? He's the GOAT. He's one of the greatest of all time. Do you miss playing at all?
No, I mean,
No?
yes and no.
What do you miss?
I guess
You don't get up 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning to walk around the house. I still do that as a GOAT. Oh, here he comes. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for the world famous and the owner and the biggest guy here, Goose.
Now, Flo, I don't want Solo kicking me under the
He's
table.
definitely going to. He's on one.
No.
No, tell him he's on one.
No. Kick me out.
I'm good now. I'm good now.
Whatever you do, do not kick Goose's
I'm
bad
good.
leg.
No, I'm good.
We will not be here no
No,
more. Don't
trust
kick
me.
that bad leg.
I'm good.
All right.
This side of the
Goose is
table
a troublemaker, boy.
Goose go start his stuff. Goose, we're trying to get him, man. Listen, the Flyers.
He's got some skates.
I know he's still got some skates. Carly, he got one more too. Listen, did you play offense or defense? And why don't you like people touching you, man?
I don't know. Do you like people touching?
I mean,
Especially another guy, right?
he was dead serious. He said, "Get off me." He wanted to say, "Get off me, Flo. Don't touch me." That's what you wanted to say, right?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I didn't even really know. It was just a reaction, I
Sorry,
guess.
like that. Okay. All right, I get it. Goosebone.
You know what I can say about it is that when I played, my dad always taught me to play as hard as you can because you never know when it's going to be the last time. And I
Exactly.
really didn't know when it was going to be the last time. But I can say that I left it all out there, and that's the way it was.
Oh,
and that was
shoot.
the end of it for me. So I'm
It
okay
is.
with that.
You gonna put it on?
That's a goalie helmet.
Yeah.
I used to.
Yeah.
So I had a guy
Yeah.
one year when I played on the U.S. National team, and this was before I realized that this was really wrong to do. But he gave me his cage at the end of the season. It had like 10 dents in it because I just shoot pucks at his head in practice. It really hurt a guy doing that, you know. And goalies, as I got older and played pro, they would freak out when you did that. Freak out. I mean, I've seen guys leave practice because of it, like real babies about it, right? Goalies are different. But so I played in Reading one of my last seasons, and we had this young kid, Jonathan Quick. He still plays today. He played on the U.S. Olympic team. Well, they didn't let NHLers play this last time, but I mean, he was only in Reading down in the minors because he couldn't wake up, right? He could not wake up for practice. He was late for the first practice that I ever went on the ice with him for. But
Norris
so
the same way.
a couple weeks into it, I ding him in the face with a shot, and I'm like, this kid's got an NHL contract, and I just hit him in the face. Sorry, Quickie. Sorry, you know. He's like, he looks at me and he goes, "It's all right, Herney. I signed up for the job." And I'm like, that's the best answer I've ever
man.
heard out of a
Right,
kid.
right.
And that's why he plays in the
He was
NHL.
hungry.
That's why he plays in the NHL. That kind of attitude was fantastic. So I'll never forget that.
So let me ask you a question. So on the CBD part, have you ever thought about coming out with like a crushed ground version of it that you can be able to throw it in your smoothies when you wake up in the morning. So you're taking something natural, and then you're actually helping with your inflammation and other things.
Yeah. So, there is that option. Now, what I would do, and what most people that are really into that sort of stuff, just use hemp hearts because now you're getting more than just that. Hemp hearts they're not going to be rich in CBD, but they're going to have a lot of other benefits for you. Right. And then I would always recommend people when it comes to CBD, take it as an oral under the tongue.
Gotcha.
I mean, because then you're getting a full spectrum product, which we kind of touched on earlier there. Right. And it's going to hit from the inside, especially people dealing with it. Almost everything people deal with revolves around inflammation.
Right.
So you got to take it every day. So sometimes multiple depending on who you are and the strength. You got to take it multiple times a day, probably. But you want to keep it in that system, and then it starts to take that inflammation down. And then if you use like a topical or you use an edible for sleep at night, it kind of amplifies that effect, right? So, and then from a standpoint of smoking, hemp's a little harsher as the flower goes. I think that's why people prefer the vape products, some of that stuff over it, but it's out there and it's available. They do pre-rolls and things like that. Okay. But now you're looking at burning it as opposed to eating it. So anytime people are going to eat it from like a crushed, just to eat crushed flour or anything, you just veer more towards like a hemp heart for those healthy benefits.
Okay.
Now I know I'm gonna get myself in some trouble, but won't be the first or the last, and I've been kicked out of better places. But is there any way, you know what I mean? And just listen to what I'm saying. Because Nard called me the other day and was just like, yo, we really got to get this done. And Gary too. And not the fact that Goose is on the panel. What's your name again? The photographer. Is there any way?
Here.
Is there any way that we can
I'm just here for me.
I like to thank everybody for coming out to the show. We'll see you on the other side. Is there any way that we could maybe in the future come up with our own CBD leaf?
CBD leaf?
Yes.
You mean like
exactly what I mean.
Are you talking about a tobacco leaf or a hemp leaf?
Hemp leaf.
So there is a lot of hemp leaf out there right now where it's like a homogenized, basically, they use hemp and they create a paper. And
Gary, Gary, go ahead, take over. Did we have that conversation about coming up with our own?
So not so much a leaf, but if we can come up with not a CBD leaf, but if we can come up with some kind of good pre-roll type leaf.
It's funny you say that. I just met a guy out at TPE that does all that sort of stuff. Okay. Now, it depends what you want to do, right? I mean, and Goose can talk a little bit about this as well, because if you get into using like a Pennsylvania broadleaf from like a Frontier, right, now you're going to have a tobacco tax applied, right? And what all these guys are doing right now are like Zigzag's got them. I saw them out front. They've got a hemp wrap. Right. And I've been at the trade shows with them, and the first thing that comes out of their mouth is no tobacco tax. Right.
Because it's a paper.
Because it's a paper.
Nice.
Right. So it depends what you want to do. Now, the part of that is this is a natural leaf. Right. So the benefit, you got your pros and cons. Those wraps, I don't like them, to be honest with you. Right. And the first one that came out was High Hemps, took the market share. Right. And on the package, it says plus CBD. Well, that's kind of a scam to be. Right. I mean, I don't want to call them out too. It is, right? Because what you're doing is the hemp itself inherently has CBD in it. Right. Now, I don't know if you guys know this, but CBD actually counterbalances THC. THC is what gets you high, right? So why would you market something that's going to counterbalance the stuff that you're going to wrap up inside of it, right? It's almost like they don't even understand who they're trying to sell it to, right? Like, because you don't really want that, right?
They're just trying to sell a sexy product for somebody
exactly,
to buy.
And they're using a hot button word, right, with CBD on there. So there's no additional CBD put in that. You could do something with a Delta 8 wrap, The other big thing these days is there's different leaves that come out of different jungles, whether it's a banana leaf, right? There's no tobacco tax. You can make a pre-rolled leaf. But yeah, I was with a guy at TPE he's doing them for all the major cannabis companies now, because they can take, something that had a value, whatever weight it had, maybe it had a $50 value, and they can break that up, put it in these leaves, put on their cool, let's say it's this brand name, they put that on the wrap of the thing, and now they're selling 20 of those, and they're selling them at $10 a pop. It takes that $50 value and it just explodes it, right? So that's the big thing that's happening now that you're seeing, I think, with a lot of these, whether it's a dispensary or a brand in the cannabis space. I mean, you're seeing a lot more. I mean, we saw Mike Tyson out with Futurola cones at the Champ show. I mean, there's a lot more money in that space now where they're doing a lot more with it. So if you come out with something unique, I mean, I was with a guy, I'll turn you on to a guy that's doing stuff out of Cambodia. I promise nobody's getting the leaves he's getting right now. No. You know what I mean? So you want something like that's what the new way is coming. And not only that,
okay, you said enough. You said enough.
Well, yeah, he's got some really cool stuff with it.
Yeah, you said enough. Done. All right, hold on. No, that's good. Yeah. We'll talk about that offline.
All right, Genius. Go ahead. You got a question for him?
Tell me more about this wedding cake.
So the HHC is the newest product out there, and obviously it's a kind of a THC people are familiar with now, CBD people are familiar with now. What's HHC? Well, it's a hexahydrogenated cannabidiol. So think of it like this, right? Like hydrogenated butter is like margarine, right? That stuff will last forever. And it's funny, I was talking to Johnny in here who was watching a show, I guess, about if we sent people into outer space, into Mars. He said that's where he saw HHC first, was because this just won't degrade like a CBD because it's gone through that process of hydrogenation. So it's technically supposed to be stronger than any of the Delta 8s or Delta 10 products. It's supposed to be the closest thing to a Delta 9 THC, which would be, true medical marijuana. And beyond that, what I've read, again, this is a probably 3-4 months out now that this product's been going around. There is no THC in it. So for folks that are concerned of any type of, testing or that sort of stuff, it seems to be kind of the answer for them. And I'm not going to sit here and say that's 100%. This is just what I've been reading from different doctors and things like that. And I haven't heard anything bad about that right now. Again, these are a nice high grade device itself. We really vet the products that we pick out and decide to carry, because there's a lot of them out there, right? And everybody is, now it tends to be a race to the bottom, and we don't believe in that, because what that ends up doing is someone comes in here to Goose's Lounge and buys a product, and it doesn't work well for them, or it leaks on them, or in their car, or in their pocket. They're not happy about that. They're not coming back to buy it. Who cares if we sold it for $5, less? I'd rather have something that is a little bit more expensive, has those lab reports to it, and actually then works at the end of the day. When the customer buys it, there's a big problem with CBD when we first started 5 and 6 years ago, is that, well, this doesn't work. Well, you bought somebody's that was $10, and I'll tell you right now, you're not going to get, really good stuff or it's a stretch to find, something like that. So we have a quality product that it might be a couple bucks more, but it's going to work at the end of the day. And that's the key, to have the customer come back. And then they know where they can find, the good stuff and the quality stuff. And it generates that customer, that loyal customer, which, just here at Goose's alone, since we've kind of opened up this category here and this cabinet, which is a great cabinet, by the way, John. It looks great up front there. It's front and center. People see it lit up. I mean, it the product's turning over much, much faster. And, we see more people coming back. I think what Delta 8 has done for the industry, a lot of people came out. I had someone say to me, they say, well, Delta 8 is what CBD was supposed to be. I'm like, no, you guys just never understood CBD. I mean, CBD has a much bigger medical, sense for someone that's going through, MS or something where they're dealing with something that, maybe I'm not, right? It could have a much larger impact in their life. And they're going to say, this is the miracle for me. Whereas someone who is totally healthy and has no real, well, maybe they just sleep a little bit better than work, right? So what it has done is it's now showed people, well, okay, this is the stuff that can give you a little bit of a euphoric effect, call it a high if you want to call it that with Delta 8. So people now are looking at CBD for what it truly is, and that it does have that medical, side to it, I guess. So you can replace a supplement, some of your prescriptions and things like that. So we're having that repeat business, which is great, and that's a loyal customer when you get them. But the Delta 8 is certainly something now that is flying off the shelves, right, John?
It is, and the customer, the demographic is from age 21 to 75. I mean, it's anybody that got aches and pains and doesn't want to be a stoner, if you will. They don't want to smoke marijuana. They just want temporary relief or relief of their aches and pains. And I feel good about selling cigars in my life. I love cigars. I'm glad I didn't sell cigarettes in my lifetime because cigars are a celebratory thing, and I'm proud of that. I love the cigar industry, but I love selling a product where people benefit from it. And certainly Matt's company, Atlantic VVO, sells products. Initially, your dad and you sold it to veterans who have a lot of aches and pains. And Matt does an excellent job, along with his dad, with a chain of smoker-friendly stores down in West Virginia and Ohio. And West Virginia and Ohio is a hotbed for opioid addiction and opioid deaths. And I got that one case out there, which I'm looking to multiply by 3. It's producing so many dollars for us that if I had 2 more or even 3 more of those cases, I could triple, double, quadruple my business with Matt's products. And it's people that don't want to get addicted to pharmaceutical drugs that affect the liver and the kidneys.
Right.
This is a natural way of healing and feeling relaxed in life. There's so much tense people and stress and tenseness creates disease in people, and it relaxes. And the mantra, ironically, of the cigar business is relax and enjoy a cigar.
Right.
Any way that we can relax in this environment that we're in today, and it's a good thing.
Yep.
So I would highly recommend contacting Matt and Atlantic VVO if you run a business or if you run any kind of store that. Hopefully not near us, because we want to keep it here, Flo. We want to keep the business here.
Well, yes.
If anybody's got a store within 5 minutes, forget about Matt.
Right. Hey, Goose, it's a 50-mile radius, man.
50 miles.
50. Before Solo asks a question, you guys mind if I cut a commercial real quick?
No, go ahead.
All right. When you are having a great cigar along with CBD or maybe even gummies or cookies, Nord, some of your favorites, make sure you go and you get your 28 Black. 28 Black has over 28 hours of energy. Hey, and she'll love it too. 28 Black coming to a store near you. Make sure you contact Goose or you go to any of our ID pages and ask us how can we get 28 Black inside of your store, inside of your salon, your barbershop, whatever the case may be. It's the new energy drink for champions, 28 Black, baby. Solo, go ahead, ask your question.
Matt, my question. Oh, I get a question. Okay, cool.
1 minute.
So how you do me? Matt, out of all of the products here, as far as the cartridges and everything, I mean, everybody has their baby, their go-to that they really enjoy. Which one would be for you?
So for me,
the Gorilla, you said Gorilla.
The Gorilla Glue.
Yeah.
I like well, that's a good flavor.
It looks like him. That's why.
Wow, we're going after that. Okay. You really only showing off. That's
Look,
two.
look,
That's
look,
two.
look at Gary.
I'm just
That's
listening
two.
to mediation.
Hey, Just, whenever he starts acting up, turn his mic off.
Yeah,
So-
Excuse me, Mac. Go ahead. Thank you.
So when it comes to the Delta 8 products, I mean, I like the cookies probably the best, just because they're the strongest.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like if I'm doing something, Carly and I'll split one. You know what I mean? If it's end of the day, I'll eat a whole one because they
Okay.
are strong. Now after that, I just it's so easy with the disposable that these are for me probably the best. Whether it's the Delta 8 or the 8, this is an HHC that I have here, just because I'm still trying them out. They're that new that I'm still testing these out. But when it comes to the strains because I mean, again, we have 15 different ones. I really like the stuff that's kind of piney personally. So I like the Durban Poison, the Green Crack. It's a terrible name. Well, it's probably a great name because it really is. I mean, you come back to the Green Crack.
Yeah,
I mean,
Darn
that
loves
one, it's
green
got,
cracks.
yeah, I mean, that one, that one is, that's the one. And then you can never go wrong with the Granddaddy Purple.
Okay.
I mean, and those are the Granddaddy Purple is probably the number one seller. Again, I like most of them, and again, we could probably get more strains, but I guess we get the ones that I probably am most familiar with that in my travels that I see. So I like all of them, I guess you could say, because I brought them in. I'm one of the ones that decided which ones we were going to
I
have.
want a follow-up question. Is that okay? Okay.
Hurry up.
Who comes up with, or how do you come up with the names of the strains?
So these are all strains from the cannabis industry, right? And it's all terpene based. So, it depends which terpenes go into it to create that type of flavor. And if you're not familiar with what a terpene is, they give like fruits and vegetables their smells, right? So you open up an orange and it's got like limonene in it. Limonene is a great one that, and what we're learning more with terpenes now is that they actually have, different properties to them that can have health benefits and can do certain things. I mean, I don't want to say too much because there's claims that you certainly can't make yet. But as this stuff becomes more legal and people can research it more, they're just learning so much more about it. And there's so much within the plant that they don't know. But to answer your question in short, we don't come up with these names. They're all these names are pretty old at this point. People know Pineapple Express, right? They know Granddaddy Purple, they know Sour Diesel. I mean, these ones have been around. There's some newer ones, and as they get established and come out, the guys that grow them, the guys that go to like the cannabis cups and those sort of things, I mean, they're the ones that I guess get to actually choose what they are. But then it has to be something that becomes accepted within the community. People have to like it, all that sort of stuff, and then it kind of gets established as a strain. So with the Delta 8, all they've done is followed that framework from the actual cannabis space and used those terpene blends to create the flavor. And what's nice about that is that it's not it's a natural flavor as opposed to like an artificial flavor. Like terpenes are naturally found, right? So you're not getting something that just tastes like strawberry lemonade. You know what I mean? To say like, I know Green Crack's not a great name, but that is the name of the strain, right? And that's certainly not geared towards a kid. That and again, as I said earlier, we're thinking, kids can't come into this lounge. They can't come into a cigar, into a smoke shop. So these places are set up already to card for. As soon as you make this stuff federally legal, again, I think they're using Delta 8 as almost a dry run to see how these places handle it around the country.
See, I'm thinking of a strain, Golden Goose. Hawaiian Solo. Perfect names, perfect strains. You know what I mean? Yeah, you on the same page. We're on the same
That'd be
page.
nice though. The Golden Goose.
Yeah.
Shucky Ducky
You guys
Quack
gotta,
Quack.
you gotta walk up into the hills of Humboldt County and meet some
Sorry, I
boys.
didn't mean to touch you. It's the second podcast and the second day. He's doing the same stuff, man. Shout out to everybody who comes to the Undefeated Goats podcast. I mean, you got to be an undefeated goat in order to be in the podcast. This is the second time, man. First he gonna throw Goose on it. Try to, you know what I mean, Will Goose in, and then he gonna come on a Hawaiian solo. He ain't got a Hawaiian in his life.
I roll with him here, so.
You roll with him here?
Yeah, I ride with him.
Man, we're gonna have to get you an Uber back home. You can roll with Gary or whatever. I'd rather walk in the rain from here all the way back than to ride with this guy, man. Twice today, Gary. This ain't once. Gary, you ain't gonna say nothing to him. This is the second time today in the podcast. He gonna sit there and plug his own self.
I'm just here for me.
Hey, hey Matt, I got a question for you.
Nah, ain't no question. Hold on, man. I apologize. Matt, don't get involved with this shenanigans. Second time today.
Yo,
did
Kev.
this, man.
Kev, cut it out.
Talk to my manager.
Nard, tell Kev to cut that shit out.
Nard, tell your boy.
We'll get back to you.
We'll get back to you.
Have his
All
people call my people.
Yeah, we'll talk about it.
That's cool.
I roll with
All
him.
right. Questions. How many puffs do you get with this? From the time that you buy it from Goose's or buy it off of Nard or Gary, how many puffs do you before you have to go and charge
You're gonna
it?
get a couple hundred out of it.
A couple hundred.
Yeah, you're gonna.
That's
it's gonna
different
be
than the
around
hood.
for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, they'll be around for a little while.
And you don't burn your fingertips.
Nope.
I have no idea what he's talking about.
What'd you say?
Or your
I
beard.
have no idea.
Burn your fingertips,
I don't know
huh?
what he's talking about.
You have no idea.
No clue.
We were all young at one point.
You have no idea what he's talking about.
Nah.
What about tacos? You anything? You know
I have
anything
no
about
idea
that?
what you're talking about.
You don't know anything what I'm
Whenever
talking
you're ready.
Thanks, man. You know what? You're a team player. Between you and
When
Solo,
I get
man,
on those wheels and still.
it's
And
not
see, I
gonna
don't
happen.
even want to get on the wheel.
Yeah, I don't need to get on the
behind
wheels.
camera,
Oh, don't
I'm
worry about
cool.
it.
He's treating me like
I'm
a
picturing
stepchild.
Don't worry about it,
Step
man.
Brothers
Don't even worry about
That's
it.
how we
man.
are. That's how the love is deep.
Yo, Nard and Gary, how do you? Oh, Justin too. How do y'all feel about, man? We'll get a chance and opportunity to push these different products, man. How do you feel about that?
So, I have a brother that has a cigar lounge. in
hey,
Pittsburgh.
shout out to your brother. You want to plug it, please?
Yeah, Cigar Father Cigar Lounge out in outside of Pittsburgh. So look them up, Cigar Father's Cigar Lounge.
Is it Penn Hills?
There you
No,
go.
Verona, in Verona, PA.
Verona, PA.
But so some of these products, I will talk to him about this and try to get it to him so it could benefit me and him at the same time, as well as continue to build your brand. So those are the kind of little things that I like, because you're looking for kind of the mom and pop shops, the bodegas to get on the ground floor and to boast it and create some great flow. And then of course we all know a bunch of people who have cigar lounges and do certain things. So yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
that's what I like about it.
What's great, G, is these products are approaching 10 to 15% of our daily sales.
Wow.
Mm.
Yeah, so, and significant number.
Right.
So, and what's nice about it, you're not going to catch Wawa selling these,
No.
or sheets or
Right.
which anything that I can sell that Wawa doesn't carry, it refuses to carry, is a benefit to me.
Exactly.
You're drawing in people.
Right. Exactly.
Yep.
I think so far what I have tried or sampled from your products, I haven't had an issue with anything, and I think it's good because we're all ex-athletes up here, one way or the other. Most of us all played in college for a period, and we're over our 50s, so it's those aches and pains that hit the knees, the hips, the shoulders.
Man, I mean, I've had 2 hip surgeries.
Yeah.
The guy who did Donovan McNabb did my sports hernia 1st, and then I did a full femoral head reconstructive surgery and torn labrum when I was 26, 27. And I haven't taken pills in, I don't even know, probably, anything,
Right.
like Tylenol, like
Right.
none of that
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
In probably 10, maybe more.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not looking for anybody to, thanks for the applause, but frankly, that's for me. You know what I mean? And once I could change my mindset with that, and I've got there's other guys that kind of paved that road. Like Riley Cote is a good friend of mine who I played. He played for the Flyers. He was a tough guy. And we used to get into it back in the day, and party and all that sort of stuff.
Right.
And I think, you know, he's a guy who I kind of looked at him like, man, he ain't afraid about being out there. And I mean, frankly, this is his. I bought this at his hemp festival in Philly. This shirt, you know what I mean? So we try and collaborate when we can, because it's good to have that, like you said, core group of old ex-athletes that can say, hey, listen, like maybe things should be a little bit different than the way they are, because we've seen the inside of the beast, and you know, they kind of use you up and they spit you out, and then they don't care too much about you, right? And
It's all bottom line for them.
Yeah. So for me, it's a personal thing that you know, I'm happy about. And you know, I mean, you know, we have kids, right? I have 3 young kids, and people often ask me, like, what are you going to tell? What are you going to teach your kids about this? I'm going to stop lying to them, right? I mean, because I grew up with this stuff being there's a big lie about it all, right? It's not just taboo, it's a lie, right? I mean, right out of the gates, it's just it's not true, right? And you can start to look at stuff like, well, why do they have these patents on this sort of thing? Why, you know, they've known this for that long, yet we keep doing it. You know what I mean? We didn't even talk about kratom here today, which is another natural plant that comes out of Southeast Asia. It's a tree leaf. It's ground up. But guess what? This plant interacts with your opiate receptors, so you can't have that, right? I mean, that's bad news, right? So since 1967, there's been a patent on it, a government patent that says it's an analgesic. They know it's a natural painkiller, right? It's not going to hit you in a toxic way like these other opiates. All right. Since 2010, they've had another one that says that they know that it can deal with opioid withdrawal and the symptoms associated with it. Right now, just 2 weeks ago out in West Virginia, where Goose said we sell a lot to that, because there is such a problem out there, and there was a major problem. Well, they introduced a bill to make 2 things illegal, and guess what they were?
Natural.
Delta 8 and kratom, because the price point on these things for the consumer, right? Like Goose said, they're getting relief for a reasonable price, right? It doesn't cost them a mortgage payment, half a mortgage payment to do, you know, and take these prescriptions and things like that. So it's a direct conflict for their kind of business. Right. And I mean, we've seen it down to the point where you try and call a lobbyist, you can't find a lobbyist because they're all having a conflict of interest because they all work for the pharmaceutical companies. Yeah. I mean, it's crazy, you know, and that's why I like to get out. I appreciate you guys doing stuff like this and having us on, because we can talk about it and maybe we help one person and you know, maybe people think I'm crazy. I don't really care, right? But you know, I've seen it both ways, and I would much rather see someone kind of go down this path and try this stuff before they go to that other stuff.
Well, you know, big pharma needs to be challenged, and the only way, and it's always been a problem with big pharma. It's been a problem with the government, because we all know medicine is there to not really cure you or fix you, but to keep you coming back.
Yep.
And then the second phase is, what long-term effect negative effect does it have on your body? Because then that's another thing that we get to treat you for. So it keeps pharma involved the whole time.
I mean, it's amazing. We were just talking about it the other day. I mean, even with the news channels, you know, we got one for left-wing folks, and really it's just to bring them in for pharmaceutical commercials. We got one for right-wing folks, and then you put on like a young show like MTV or BET or something like that, and they're doing pharmaceuticals for the young folks. And just go talk to your doctor about this. You got that. Go talk to and it's all geared to the people that watch those channels, right? Whether it's older folks or younger folks. I'm like, man, this is absolutely crazy. And we're one of the only countries in the world that allows these guys to, right? Why can't we do that with cigars? Why can't we just take out an ad space and sell cigars on there, right? It's that's, you know, they're not selling health in my opinion, for the most part, because people end up thinking it's like the old restless leg thing, you know. It's like, go see your doctor about this, and you know, I don't know. I just think there's a better way than, you know, humanity made it to this point in time without all this other stuff. I realize people get sick. I realize things happen, and there's, you know, modern medicine is great, but I think sometimes we rush to that when there's, you know, there's other ways to do things. It's true. You know what I mean?
And that kind of flows back into 28 Black. You know, it's a vegan product. It's all natural. It doesn't give you the sugar rush or the highs. It gives you something good to be able to drink, something you can mix drinks with. And it doesn't really beat your body up. It's something good for you.
Mm.
So when you look at things like that, you know, overall they don't want it, right?
Yep.
But a lot of us who are looking for something different to be able to deal with some of our things and to keep ourselves a little younger and spry,
Yeah.
we want to look at things that are more natural.
Yep. Well, 100%. I mean, and you know, I'm not a big energy drink guy at all.
Neither am I.
I
but
tried
I like
this
that.
earlier. This stuff is really good. I will 100% say that. I like the sour cherry the best, but
Sour cherry
this
is
is
the
good
best.
too.
Yeah.
I noticed when I went out there that was the one that had the least
wrong?
amount.
You sure you don't
Exactly.
that one.
You
I'm
sure you don't
gonna
like
try that one.
Hawaiian?
Hey,
That's it.
well,
You sure you
Hawaiian.
don't like Hawaiian?
Hawaiian
Of
solo.
course, everybody loves Hawaiian, but I'm not. You know, we're talking about the
It's a
sour
shelf.
cherry.
No, but I-
Pineapple Hawaiian solo.
Yeah, you sure you don't like pineapple Hawaiian
Goose,
solo?
Goose.
I think that's a
Goose.
great name.
Why you bother me?
Hawaiian,
Goose?
yeah.
Yeah, what's the problem, Goose?
I think we should annex this side of the table.
There we go. There we go. You heard.
Become our own separate state.
You heard what he said.
Yeah. Now they trying to beat Texas.
Give it up for my man over here, my man Matt. That's right. Coming to a store near you, man. Make sure you hit up Matt. Go to his IG page right now. It's Frontier Cigars, all one word, and DM him right now so you can get all his products into your next store, your next bodega, and your next cigar lounge, man. We greatly appreciate you, Matt. Guys, can we give him another round of applause? We'd like to thank everybody for coming out. We'll see you on the other side. We need everyone right now to go to TikTok. We're going to TikTok right now. So go to TikTok. What's the name of the TikTok name?
It's Frontier Cigar.
How you get Frontier Cigar with every single... All right, go to TikTok right now, Frontier Cigar, and you're going to see us on the other side, man. Matt, thank you so much for coming out. Undefeated Ghost podcast right here each and every Sunday with me and the crew. One more round of applause, guys. See you on the other side.